Hey everyone, Nick here. We've got another video for you with my Motor Bandit project. I've been at the track a couple of times, so I've raced it. I'll tell you guys a little bit about that. I'm sure you've noticed that it's got the laydown transmission. You're probably wondering why the laydown transmission is back in the car. There's a reason for that. And on top of that, I've got a few exciting announcements to make. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into the video. Alright, so I've had this out at the track maybe 2 or 3 times since the last video, and I really haven't made any other videos about it because there's really not much to write home about in terms of the way the car has been driving. Every time I've been out at the track with it, it's driven really well. I've been making progress on getting the setup more dialed in, and I've been really happy with its performance so far. So, you know, that's why you haven't heard a whole lot about racing from me recently. But I'm making a video today, so I figured I'd touch on it a little bit, and I'd also tell you why I've got the laydown transmission in here. So this past Friday, I was out at the track racing, and in the first qualifier, I was hauling ass down the straightaway, and out of nowhere, another buggy comes flying from across the lane into the straightaway right in front of me, and smash, we hit each other real fast. I kept driving on, so I thought my car was fine, but I noticed immediately after that it was driving a little funny. And when I got done with the round, the qualifier, and I pulled the car off and I had a chance to look at it, my shock tower was completely busted, and my waterfall brace was also broken. Now the waterfall brace, I've broken those at the track before, and typically I can just super glue them back together and they hold up fine. But that really wasn't the issue here. The issue was I was an idiot and I did not have any spare rear shock towers on my car in my pit box. So I had to swap the whole car out from the stand-up transmission to the laydown transmission, because thankfully I still had all the laydown transmission parts in my spare parts box, so I could put them on the car and keep running. And you know, that's just another advantage of this car. Like I said in the other videos, is that I designed this so it's really easy to swap this out from mid-motor, from stand-up to laydown transmissions. And it was a short night. You know, it's a weeknight race. It's only a couple hours long, and I only had 40 minutes maybe between rounds to get the change done. And in that 40 minutes, I also walked down to the local diner and got a sandwich to eat and brought it back to the track. So yeah, I was rushed, sure, but you know, I still walked away from the track, got food, came back, and had my car fixed and ready to go for the next round. So that's, you know, kind of the nice thing about this design, is how easy it is to swap everything out. But that's why I have the laydown transmission on. And since I've gotten home over the weekend, I've been working like crazy to make spare parts. So I've got a bunch of carbon fiber shock towers here, 2 of the stand-up transmission shock towers, and since I've already got a laydown shock tower on, I've got another laydown shock tower, and again I've got a front shock tower here, but now I've got another to go in the parts bin. And on my 3D printer, I'm printing out a whole new batch of printed parts just to throw in the parts box as well, just to make sure, you know, I don't end up in that situation again, because that was a bad situation. And I guess while I'm talking about it, I can give you a bit of my experience and my feelings on driving a loose outdoor dirt track with a laydown transmission versus a stand-up transmission, because I got the chance to do both on Friday night unintentionally. So at the outdoor dirt track with the laydown transmission, the car felt like it could carry more corner speed, and it felt like it could corner more easily and even rotate the rear end a little easy, but also more controllable. So like when it started to rotate, it was really easy to keep a hold on. The issue that I noticed is that coming out of corners, trying to gun it, you know, to go straight to the next corner, that's when the car got a little squirrely. It felt like it couldn't put down the power quite as well as I could with the stand-up transmission. The stand-up transmission, on the other hand, you know, that was a lot more planted in the rear. I could accelerate and brake a lot harder and keep the rear end confidently planted. But it was a little harder to get it to turn. Going into the turns, I had to hit the brakes harder to get the rear end to break loose and to rotate through the turn. But overall, you know, I still prefer the stand-up transmission on loose dirt. But I think maybe with some tweaking, I could maybe get to a point where I'm happy with a laydown transmission on outdoor dirt as well. But that would take more work, and you know, I don't know. I think I just prefer the stand-up on outdoor dirt. I think it just feels more confident. So yeah, that's it for racing. Why I had the laydown transmission, and you know, my thoughts on racing a laydown car versus a stand-up car on outdoor dirt. So unfortunately, everything hasn't been amazingly perfect with this car. There have been some minor issues I've noticed, and I want to talk about those right now. It's actually why I've got the rear end slightly disassembled here. The first I want to talk about is this rear camber link mount right here. So this screws on top of the back of the transmission here, and usually I'll have like a camber link spacer in there that can raise and lower it or whatever to whatever I want, but that's not mainly the issue. The issue is I've noticed that even when I tighten these screws down to a really tight feel, what can happen is in a crash, this gets knocked out of place just a little bit. And so what happens is I'll set my camber before going out to the track. I'll run my round, and when I come back and check the camber again before the next round, I'll notice my camber will have changed from, you know, what I set it to last. And that's because this can shift ever so slightly when it's hit real hard. And maybe, you know, an ideal solution would be to have some kind of locating feature, you know, designed into this block and into the transmission so it keeps it held in place better. But for right now, what I've found is that if I just tighten these screws to the point where I feel like I'm almost stripping out the heads, that is tight enough to keep this in place even in hard crashes. The second issue is actually pretty similar to that, and it's with these Rustler rear arm mounts, or the Nitro Rustler rear arm mounts, my bad. And if you notice here, I've got really long screws that I've capped off with nuts on these rear arm mounts. And I do that on, you know, cars that have this style of rear arm mount, even on my old RC10 T3, because the plastic holes in these can strip out pretty easy. And when that happens, you know, you get your rear arm moving back and forth, and you get adaptive camber, but like not in a good way. So that's why I've got these nuts on here. What I noticed though is that, again, even though I thought I had these tightened down pretty well, I was noticing as I came off the track with the car that my rear toe-in, instead of being somewhere, you know, around 3 degrees, it looked like I had no toe-in. It looked like the tires were, you know, perfectly front and back, like it had no toe-in. And what I realized is I could just grab the wheel and, you know, like manhandle the car and get the arm to move back and forth and change the amount of toe-in. So again, just like the rear camber link block, the fix for this is to just tighten the holy crap out of these nuts. You know, just give it the full beans when you tighten them down, and tighten them to the point where you think you're almost going to ruin hardware, and that's how tight they need to be. I don't know that there's anything I can really do design-wise to fix that, so I think that is just the solution, is to just tighten the crap out of these. But that's, you know, that's it. But so far, you know, those are two minor issues. They're not the worst thing in the world, and now I know about them, and now I know how to get around them. So, not the worst thing. Okay, so now for the really exciting part of this video, and it's really kind of two different announcements that I have that I can finally make about the car. The first is I'm releasing all of the files. So all of the files to print everything that you see that's printed on here, and even the files for the CNC cut parts like the shock towers and the chassis and the motor plate and all that. I'm putting them up on printables, and you can just download them for free and do whatever you want with them. So if you want to make this car, you'll be able to download all the files and make this car yourself. In line with that, I have another exciting announcement to make. I've set up a Ko-Fi coffee site. I don't know. It's kind of like Patreon, but not Patreon. It's Ko-Fi. But anyway, I've linked that down in the description, and I've linked the files here for the car too. I've also linked this down in the description. But you know, if you download the files and you make the car, and you like, you know, the files and you like the car and you want to thank me, you can make a one-time donation to me if you want, or if you want me to keep making videos, if you want to keep seeing content about this car and other 3D printed projects related to RC cars, feel free to become a monthly subscriber. I would really appreciate any support you guys can throw my way. I've been working hard on this project for honestly years now, and I've sunk I mean, it's not really sunk, but, you know, I've put a lot of money into working on this and developing it. And, you know, I'm releasing it out to the world for free for you guys. If you guys want to make your own car, which I've been reading the comments, a lot of you guys have been saying that you want to make your own car. So, you know, here are the files, and they're there for free for you. Yeah, I think I'll probably have to make another video or two talking about the files and how you can get the stuff made if you don't have a CNC router and stuff like that, but that's probably a future video. But for right now, I just wanted to let you guys know that you can get the files, and if you want to thank me, you can throw money my way, and I would greatly appreciate it. Alright, that just about wraps it up for this video. Before I go, I want to mention I'll also have a link in the description below where you can watch me racing on Friday night. I didn't take any video myself, but there's another guy at the track. He always sets up his GoPro and posts all the videos online of all the races for us. So, you know, super great guy. I'm glad he does that. So shout out to you, Mike. That's awesome. Keep an eye out for this body. I'm the only neon yellow buggy on the track, so I should be pretty easy to spot and watch the entire time. So yeah, other than that, that's it for this video. So thanks for watching along, and I hope you enjoy those files. I'd appreciate it if you did all the YouTube things, you know, like, comment, share, subscribe, all that. And I'd really like it if you supported me in the channel, and I'd be super appreciative of that. So yeah, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.